helped with the IQAC accreditation in two colleges where he has been posted. The first one was Anna Sahib Magar College, and the second one is his present college. He is at the forefront of all processes, and his expertise is essentially in e-documentation, and he likes to speak and promotes paperless office. Uh, he, as sometime back we were just talking, is the ringmaster of our IQAC cluster and is one of the enthusiastic and techno-savvy founder members of the cluster. Along with him, we are going to have Mr. Rajmohan Pardesi. Mr. Rajmohan Pardesi is an assistant professor in computer science at the Karnataka College in Bidar. And he has 7 years of experience in academic and various academic and administrative positions. His specialty is in document image analysis, soft biometric and computational ecology. So from our point of view, he is a person who will be able to talk a lot about systems and their technology part of it. So he is basically going to help us with Criterion 4 also today. So I'll hand over the session to Professor Bharat Kangude for Criterion 4. Over to you, Kangude, sir.
Thank you, sir. Uh, Let me express my gratitudes on this occasion. Uh, first I wish the best for all of the participants and organizers on this Maharashtra Day, as we are all celebrating today the Maharashtra Day. It is one of the prestigious moment in our lives. Apart from that, I must say, I must express my gratitudes towards Principal Nikalje Madam, Dr. Radhika Madam, IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Bhole Sir, our mentor, Professor Piyush Pahade Sir, Karwande Sir, all are my colleagues in IQAC Cluster India, and all the participants in this webinar who enthusiastically participating from last 3 days. I'm sure at the end we are going to have some a very nice interaction between all the panelists and the participants. So with this note, I start the criteria number 4, that is the teaching, learning, and evaluation. Sorry, criteria number 4, that is infrastructure and learning resources. So are you able to see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Along with me, Professor Rajmohan is there. I think he will appear after some time. So let's begin with this criteria number 4, that is infrastructure and learning resources. Before we go actual the basic metrics of this particular criteria, I'll just introduce why this particular criteria has been introduced, or what is the motive behind introducing this particular criteria in our assessment and accreditation process. Before that, I'll just go for some very interesting things. What we say that whatever things we are going to discuss in this infrastructure and learning resources, this affects almost every criteria, right from criteria 1 to criteria 7. For example, in criteria 1, we have feedback system. In criteria 2, there is a lot teaching learning assisted with this ICT or technology. In criteria 3, again, there is publications and so many things, extension activities. In criteria 4, again, this is what ICT we are going to stress upon much more in this entire criteria. Criteria 5, that is student support. Lot many activities of student supports can be carried out with the help of this type of infrastructure, basically ICT infrastructure. Criteria 6 deals with the governance, and e-governance is the basic component expected by NAAC in this particular criteria, or infrastructure and learning resources as well. And in the criteria 7, lot many other activities or best values or values that are the best practices that can be practiced with this type of entire things. One more very interesting thing, whatever associated with this criteria is the website of the college. I'm going to showcase one such example of website of college, how college website plays a very vital and important role in the assessment and accreditation. Of course, not only in assessment accreditation, but general overall functioning of the institution or college can be measured or can be seen through its websites only. So how? That is what one example we are going to see. Then second important thing we are going to discuss later on, that is what said to be the what are the policy procedure. There is one very nice policy procedure we are having. I'm going to introduce this policy procedure basically related to this criteria number 4, one such example as a showcase. And then, as I said, background and motivation. This is what this entire criteria is based upon this core value 4, number 4. There are in all 5 core values. Out of that, fourth core value is promoting the use of technology. It is not saying anything about the physical infrastructure, but what technology has been deployed at an institution level. NAAC just wants to test that through that technology, through that ICT technology or whatever modern technology we are saying, what that particular college, to what extent this has achieved its functioning, or functioning of the college has been is being in process or in progress. That is to be tested through this particular criteria. So that is what the background. And NAAC actually compels us to go for technology. Why and how? That also we are going to discuss in all the things that have been seen further. Then second, in case of infrastructure and learning resources, NAAC expect us to use ICT, learning resources in basically how to use ICT. That is what one thing we are going to see. Then role of infrastructure is looked as if a institution or college has a good infrastructure, then functioning of the college is said to be have a benchmarking or said to have a good status. So infrastructure is, of course, for any college, there must be good infrastructure, and then efficient teaching learning process is possible or program outcomes can be achieved. Then in this same discussion, we are going to see there are only 2 metrics which are different from the affiliated college that are exclusively for autonomous college. So both of these metrics we are going to discuss at the end. Then there are several opportunities or funding opportunities possible for exclusively for infrastructure. What are these? That also we are going to discuss in some one of the slide. Then there is called as international ranking for universities and institutions, or that is called as QS ranking. So from the infrastructure point of view, what QS ranking is required, what are the different things that are there. Then at the end, as I said, how this criteria affects each and every criteria, what are the SOPs required for this, what are the documentations required for that. These also things we are going to discuss a little bit. And at the end, we will have questions and answers depending upon your situation. I have shown 3 emojis there. First one is excited. If you are excited, you will have questions. Second is confusion. If you are confused, again, you will have questions. And if you are in the third state of emoji, then there will be questions and questions. So these are the things I wanted to go for as an outline of this particular yes, sorry. This criteria number 4. Now let's see in brief why infrastructure is important. As we discussed earlier, physical facilities like building, playgrounds or sports facilities, hostels, other recreational facilities, and lot many things are there which help run an institution program. And for that, so for all such things, we need to have certain policies and procedures. In fact, we all go by certain conventions, or we go by some decisions which were not written in paper, which are not written in paper. And year by year, we follow this type of procedures, unwritten procedures. But in fact, in this particular criteria, we require to have very nice policy, utilization policy, as well as set procedures for utilization of that. And as well as for the maintenance of the infrastructure, we require policy and procedure. This aspect I'm going to stress more when we go for all these physical facilities. Then second important thing, as we are going to discuss here, is information and communication technology. It consists of hardware, software, networks, and media for the collection, for storage, processing, transmission, and presentation of information, main different formats, voice format, data, text or images, as well as related services. And for that also, we require very nice ICT policy. This is one of the, every institution should have a very strong ICT, working ICT facility. Otherwise, it is very difficult to manage all these things. In fact, functioning of the college can collapse one day if we don't have such type of ICT policies. ICT policy. How that is also we are going to discuss in a little bit. And as I said earlier, a website of college, it is said to be a unique online identity of the college, how it represents a college for the not only our stakeholders, for all our general public. So that how it represents a unique identity, that is also we are going to discuss in detail at with one such example later on. Then, as we say, infrastructure, higher education institutions should ensure is the basic word we required here, the availability of fit for purpose infrastructure. That means what type of programs, what type of courses, what is the type of education, based upon that, fit for purpose infrastructure must be existing. And that is again the requirement or the conditions that have been put by statutory organizations or statutory bodies. And as per the requirement, that particular infrastructure should be a fit for purpose infrastructure, because a single infrastructure or one type of infrastructure may not be used for all other types of educational institutions. So fit for purpose infrastructure is the basic necessity. Then we must have a present and future needs. So depending upon our future and present needs, we should have future plans, or in our perspective plans also, we should have something mentioned about our infrastructure and the future development as well. Then one more thing, as I said earlier, there should be a conducive atmosphere should be existing everywhere to achieve the program outcome. So what type of conducive atmosphere? That means basically depending upon the type of institution, such type of conducive or conductive atmosphere is to be generated across all the aspects of the infrastructure, and thereby it becomes a more helpful and useful. Then another point is laboratories must be well equipped. So equipment, all types of equipment should be existing there. It should be maintained very well and updated as per the needs of the core subject. So this laboratories, their structures, their maintenance, their updation, their etc. All these aspects must be taken care of while we go for this infrastructure. Along with that, we need to have security and safety for learning environment, because thousands of students are usually in any of the institutions, and therefore we must maintain security and safety of each stakeholders, not only students but staff members and others, those who are working in the premises. Their security and safety must be taken in consideration. By that means, for that we must have some procedures as well as policies also there. Then, as we said, there are two different types of facilities we are going to discuss. Physical facilities, that includes all types of physical structures, buildings, laboratories, playgrounds, and lot many things are there. We are going to discuss later on these things in detail. And along with that, there are also some academic support facilities. That means the facilities which helps us in teaching learning, which increases the learning experiences. So such type of support facilities are there. We have to consider these facilities again as well. Then, as I mentioned here, what are the physical infrastructure required for teaching and learning? Inevitably, classrooms. Without classrooms, we can't do anything. Then, as I said, learning support facilities. There are many. We are going to discuss one by one later on. Library and information resources, or at some places, it is called as knowledge resource center, and its functioning and working is to be discussed there. Computing and ICT facilities, reasonably modern. It means that the ICT infrastructure existing before 10 years may not be in the same use today, because as technology changes, as time changes, different things comes in all the process, and therefore our infrastructure must be reasonably modern and scalable. That means depending upon the strength of your college, we must have sufficient facilities existing in your institution. That's why this facility should be scalable. Then laboratories, as I discussed earlier, it should be there should be well equipped and well planned. Every institution should have, it is not a mandatory, but we should have an auditorium, and that multifunctional auditorium, not only activities of college related to academic and non-academic or other curricular activities, they can be organized or arranged in this auditorium, and that gives a one special status for any of the college. So good auditorium is again requirement of this infrastructure. Seminar halls required for different types of activities, as we see here. And if some ultra high or very modern infrastructure is existing for in your college, specifically for some BHOK courses, as we discussed, we might be knowing There are several different types of BHOC courses, Bachelor of Vocational Education courses, and for that courses, the required infrastructure is much different than the traditional infrastructure. So for depending upon the type of BHOC course, what type of other types of courses we are having in your institution, some ultra high modern facilities are required in any infrastructure. This is what required for teaching and learning. Then in case of support facilities, we all know hostels for students. At the same time, you go for residential facilities provided for the staff members. Canteen, another very integral part of this support facility. Sports and recreational facilities, it may include gymnasiums, grounds, and everything. Recreational facilities are lot many facilities can be provided on the campus by the institution. Then healthcare center is another very important support facility. Student centers may be required for in depending upon the institutions. That is important part. Some colleges or some institutions provide transportations. So that is also one of the part of these support facilities we should take in consideration. And for cultural activities, whatever different types of facilities that includes right from auditorium to photographic, that means the recording systems, musical instruments, other softwares, computers, and lot many things are required for that. So what type of what different facilities for cultural activities are provided, that is taken under these support facilities. These are the basic things we have discussed now. Now, when we go for documentation of this different metrics that are included in this particular criteria, these are the some of the very important and must be documents that are required for that. So first case is master plan of the institution. So that gives you the entire structure of the institution, how it is existing and for what purpose a particular facility is being used in the institution. A summary of classrooms in tabulated form, for example, like room number, its capacity, ICT facilities provided there, its area, and if there are some more attributes associated with that, that also can be included here. So we should have a summary of all such classrooms in detail. Then the laboratories and equipment, all its details are needed there, along with again same, its capacity, area, and other attributes provided there. Details of the library, the physical structure of the library and the facilities provided inside the library, we should have knowledge and we should have documents of that associated. Then summary of recreational facilities and sports facilities, all the documents of that must be existing. Summary of recent improvements and planned improvements of these facilities. That means during the accession period or assessment period, what were the improvements that have been carried out in your entire infrastructure, and in future what are the plans you are going to have for the improvement of the infrastructure, that also must be ready at our hand. Then safety, summary of safety and security of measures of all such facilities. So what are the different types of security measures you have taken, safety measures you have undertaken, all this must be, the documentation must be with us. And what type of documentation, that will be see detail when we go for actual matrices there. Then bills, purchase bills of different facilities. If sometimes we go for some rents, payments of the rents, that slips also can be useful there. Orders, purchase orders basically. Then audited statements of the expenditure. Basically there are three different questions or metrics that come across this particular criteria. One is augmentation of infrastructure, second is the maintenance of the infrastructure, and third is the purchase in the library. And for that purpose we need to have audited statements, right from budget to the utilization statement, and audited statements signed by the auditor as well as your principal of your institution. So all these statements are required, and some of them are to be uploaded as a proof for the things what we have mentioned in QLM as well as QNM. Basically, sometimes audited statements are very big, 100 pages, 200 pages. Sometimes it becomes very difficult to upload all that case. So in that case, we can go for certain what we call is the extract of that particular audited statement. And extract can be for library, we can have separate extract. For infrastructure augmentation, you can have separate extract. For maintenance of infrastructure, you can have separate extract. And this extract can be prepared, should be signed by your principal as well as this auditor or chartered accountant or auditing firm of your college, and that can be supported as a support for the claims which we are making here in case of this criteria number 4. And the most important in this case is the latest geotagged photographs. So now NAAC doesn't accept, at least in this particular criteria, Geotags photographs are only accepted at the time of DVB. No other photographs without geotagging photographs are not accepted. So let's have a recent good photographs which are taken by the professional person. So if this type of photographs are organized in such a manner, you can put some of them on your website. You can upload some of them in the SSR itself. So geotag photography is the basic necessity of this particular criteria. So these are the list of the documentation, as I said. So when we go for actual metrics, we'll come across for each and everything what we have discussed here. Then, as I said, there are two different types of metrics. You all know right from the beginning, we are discussing about that. There is a qualitative as well as quantitative metrics. So even though we are answering some of the qualitative metrics here, we can use certain quantitative numeric information in the qualitative metrics too, at least while writing the classroom numbers and so many things. If the number is very small, if it is there, very number is very small, then you can convert these particular numbers into percentage, and that looks better sometimes. Then our the focus of this while writing any of the QLM here is that we have to show that whatever infrastructure we are discussing here is adequate. That means for a given number of students, the infrastructure is completely adequate, and its relevance also is to be mentioned at some time. And one more, another very important point we have to focus every time is that we have to ensure that the given infrastructure is being optimally used. So to have optimal use of that infrastructure, what are policy processes we have made? What are the adjustment we have made? In what way we have set your timetable? Or sometimes we have first morning shift, second shift. Some colleges have some night classes, or night classes may be there. So in such a case, optimal use of the infrastructure has to be ensured, and this must be represented in your all QLMs. So remember these two words, adequacy of the infrastructure and optimal use of the infrastructure. These are the basic words over which we have to depend while writing each of the QLM in this particular criteria. Then if we have user capacity of the facility, if there is certain mechanism existing, then it is well and good, because in library it is required there. If government facility, sponsored facilities, show more outreach reach, because some of the facilities in your campus may be provided by some government or some other types of agencies, NGOs and like that, and thereby you can have your connect with the society as well. Some of the facilities may be used for outreach activities, as well as for society some of the activities may be used. So you should mention that also. One simple example I'll just discuss, I will put here, that many colleges have good grounds, sports grounds, and these grounds are used by the public or the general citizens who are residing around the college campus, and for the morning walk as well as evening walk. So such a smaller point also should be noted here and should be mentioned here. Thereby it shows your connect of your campus or connect of your institution with the society as well. So all such small points should be taken in consideration. Then highlight the achievements, if any, whatever achievements have been achieved by the institution with the help of this type of infrastructure. For example, if you are earning some revenues by renting this infrastructure for some special purposes, that also should be mentioned. Then various policies and procedures, SOPs are in place, as I discussed earlier. That is one of the very important, because there are two QLMs. One is related to ICT policy and second is related to utilization and maintenance of the infrastructure. For that, we must have two such very nice policies designed, and that should be in practice. So these are the things we must remember when we go for all these QLMs. Now, when we come to this, the distribution of key indicators for autonomous and for affiliated, key indicators are just same, 4 key indicators each. There are 2 QLMs and 2 QNMs in the first, that is physical facilities. First key indicator, weightage provided there is to be 30. Then second is library and learning resources. There is 1 QLM and 1 QNM. Total weightage is 20. For third key indicator, IT infrastructure, 1 QLM and 2 QNM, 30 is the weightage. And last one, that is 4.4, maintenance of infrastructure campus. There is 1 QLM and 1 QNM, and total weightage is 20. So the percent weightage for provided for each key indicator is just same, and the total for autonomous affiliated college, there are 5 QLMs and 8 QNM, and for autonomous college 2 more metrics are added there. That means 5 plus 8, 13 plus 2, 15 metrics are there for the autonomous college. Otherwise weightage is exactly similar. Thus they have just readjusted some of the weightages but every key indicator has same weightage for autonomous college as well as the affiliated college. So we need not worry here for the autonomous college what are different. Only two key indicators are different, and that is also we are going to discuss at the end. So overall, 29 marks are reserved for QLM, 71 marks are reserved for this QNM. And as I said in the beginning, that this particular marks for criteria 4 impacts a lot on each of the criteria, right from 1 to 7. And thereby it is said that some experts say that more or less 25% of your score, almost around 220, 235, 230 marks, that depends upon what type of such facilities existing in your institution. So even though that means even though this criteria is for 100 marks, its impact on other criteria is almost around 225. So that fact has to be taken in consideration while answering QLMs and QNMs in remaining criteria too. So this is what. Now let's begin with the first question. First one, the I'll just go. First is we have to discuss the infrastructure. I'll bring it here. The 4.1.1 first key indicator, first metric, it is reserved for 5 marks. The institution has adequate infrastructure and physical facilities for teaching, learning, which classrooms, laboratories, and computing equipment, etc. Already we have discussed. So here in this QLM, we have to give overall general description within 500 words comprising. Now, if you go on listing the infrastructure existing in your college, the the number of words may be more than 100. And now we have to write entire answer in 500 words comprising all such infrastructure in your institution. So go for claim infrastructure is as per the regulations of regulating authorities. Depending upon which type of regulating authorities we have, as per their recommendations, we have this type of infrastructure. Mention quantitative information such as numbers and ratios if it is required here. Then try to show it as per the standards, ISO standards or any of the standards you are using. It is as per that standard. Try to show that. As I earlier discussed, you have to mention or you have to show adequacy and relevance of the infrastructure to carry out teaching learning activities to achieve the saved outcomes, how it is adequate and relevance for the learning outcomes for the programs in your college, that is to be mentioned. And as I said earlier, we must have a policy of optimal use, policy of augmentation as per the growing needs, and goal of sustainable development. At the same time, we must have well-formed procedures for its maintenance. So these are the points we should have, we should take in consideration while writing the overall general description of the institution infrastructure in your institution, and that to write again in 500 words. As I said, writing this essay is not difficult. Once you start writing, it may become a 5,000 words, but the limit is there 500 words. So you have to write all such things in such a manner that each and every aspect of the infrastructure which is for teaching and learning, it has been included here, and some of the attributes are being mentioned. So this writing answer of this question is a big test here. So we have to go all such exercise, rewrite once, twice, thrice, and then make it as much as perfect. And it will include all such points we have discussed here. Then the second question is again, second metric is exactly similar. 4.1.2 earlier was related to teaching learning, and this is related to other co-curricular activities. 4.1.2, the institution has adequate facilities for cultural activities, sports, games, indoor, outdoor, etc., as well as gymnasium, yoga center, and so many other things. So here we have to describe the adequacy of facilities of sports, games, and cultural activities, which include its specifications about its area, size, year of establishment, user rate, with what rate that particular facility is being used. Again, we have to answer this question into 500 words too. So it includes the details about the playground, like its standard measurements, then its utility, what different types of activities go on that particular type of playground, then mention if having specialized pitches, tracks, etc. So whatever different types of facilities existing on your playground, that must have at least mentioned here. Then indoor stadium, if it is existing, then funding, establishment year in which it has been established, and what are the facilities developed under the indoor stadium for the indoor games as well as for our outdoor games. So outdoor games basically on the sports ground. Indoor games facilities are, if they are there, you have to mention everything about this. Then if there is a gymnasium, its technical details and its capacity. And remember, in technical details means what type of equipments are existing in the gymnasium, whether there is a trainer is existing or trainer is there, that means trainer is provided, because without trainer, gymnasium is not supposed to have that type of utility. And as well as we must have schedule. So some time is reserved for ladies members, sometimes some schedule is reserved for the gents member. That type of again arrangements have been, that means it is your user policy of that must be there. So gymnasium is to describe. Yoga center, if it is there, you can mention it there, with its ambience and activities carried out. Apart from that, you can mention even your terraces. In some cases, in some institutions, terraces are used for different types of activities. Some terraces have botanical gardens, some terraces have some renewable energy sources. That means solar panels are fitted there, or some other types of equipments are fitted there. And thereby this terrace of a college is also used, or institution is also used for different useful purposes. That also should be mentioned here as an answer for this question. Along with that, if you are going to mention some about some cultural activities, what type of musical instruments we are having, video photography facilities existing in your institution, then what are the required facilities for dance, drama, and if other some special activities going on in your area, some of the facilities you are might be producing or procuring at that time, that also should be mentioned, like costumes, makeup kits, and so many things. So that is one of the very important part of this cultural activities, as I said here. And apart from that, if there are some notable achievements in sports and cultural activities, that means we can write here, that means because of such and such facilities existing at your institution in your campus, that few of our students, some of our students could reach up to national level, could reach up to international level, and they have achieved this excellency in the sports areas or cultural areas because of the training and the facility provided by your institution. Even though if some of the students, they are working outside, they are doing their they're taking their efforts from outside, but they are our students, so we can directly claim here, because of the support provided by our college, these students could achieve this type of excellence. So these things can be related here, and that is what that shows you, that shows the usability and the optimal use of your institution. Now in both of the question are for 5 marks, 10 marks is for this one. And what are the documents we are required, as I said here. So while writing answers of all these questions, we should not forget some special mention. If CCTV surveillance of full campus, if it is existing there or partial, it is to be mentioned there. Certificate of building safety from disaster management authorities. Nowadays, these are the very important certificates. So from disaster management authorities, we should have some safety audit of buildings have been done. If such certificates are there, that should be mentioned there. If there is a fire safety, is again same case. If you are having fire audit done of our institution from the relevant authorities, so that also should be mentioned here, because that shows you are caring about your infrastructure, you are having good what we say for our safety of the students and the staff members or the faculties working here. We are carrying out all these types of audits, and provided for some programs, some special laboratories are required, and in case we require certification for certain laboratories or workshop from some standard organizations, depending upon, for example, in case of chemistry laboratory, we have to have some radioactive sources, and we cannot, that college cannot store such type of radioactive sources beyond a particular limit. And for that, we have to go for some Atomic Energy Commission, and we have to get permission from that. So such type of, for example, such certification is required for certain laboratories. That also should be mentioned. So to write answer in 500 words, comprising all these points here is not that easy, as I said earlier. So you have to be very careful regarding all these things there. Then, as I said, regarding documentation, as I said earlier, what we said, that photographs of geotagged photographs of all these cases, as well as all this infrastructure, as well as other documentation existing at your place, we can upload here in the 5 MB size PDF, in the 5 MB, and the documents with the photographs or other proofs which we could not upload here, this can be placed in a separate folder or separate page on your website, and link of that also can be provided here in the support of QLM 1 and 2, that is first metric and second metric. So at the time of when that particular process, actually these are QLMs, so when this particular PRT visits, so you can have all such documents ready at your hand, and that can be shown there. as a proof for the questions number 1 and 2. Both the metrics can be seen here. Remember, this has only 10 marks as compared to the entire criteria for 100 marks. Then next QLM is QNM in the key indicator 1 is this 4.1.3. Now look at this. First two key metrics have 10 marks, and the third metric here, that is QNM, quantitative, it has 10 marks, and what it rates: percentage of classrooms and seminar halls with ICT enabled facilities such as smart class or LMS. Now, merely having placed this, what we say, it is a LCD in the in a classroom and having one computer, we cannot call it to be a smart class. So the concept of smart class and learning management software we are going to discuss later on. So we have to mention how many classrooms are there in your institution which are having such type of ICT enabled facilities for teaching and learning. So you have to give a room. This is a data template. There are only 3 heads there: room number or name of the classroom, seminar hall with LCD, Wi-Fi, LAN facilities with its room number. So all these numbers have to be given at the same time. So specifically for each room, what type of ICT facilities have been provided, that will be mentioned in the second column. And at the same time, you have to give a geotagged link of photographs or the master timetable existing for that type of classroom. That means in an institution, a particular smart classroom is existing there. You have to give it all its detail and what basis it is shared for the all faculties or all classes. That's timetable also should be mentioned here. So this type of things are required here to be given in this particular question, this QNM 4.1.3, and that carries a 10 marks. Now you can compare again. Remember here, note labs and workshop with ICT facilities are not to be considered here. Exclusively classrooms which are used for teaching learning, not the labs and workshop are not to be included here in this list. And I'm sure at rural colleges, hardly 1 or 2 smart classrooms are there. LMS are there. Maybe in cities like Mumbai or some other metropolitan cities, 1 or 2 classrooms or LMS may be existing, and still the question has been given a 10 weightage. So as compared to first 2 metrics, this particular metric has equal weightage. Why? We can understand very easily. So henceforth, we should be very careful about this type of infrastructure that in every institution. That is why, as I said, NAAC is expecting us to promote the use of technology in our everyday functioning, teaching, learning, or administration. And that's why ICT enabled facilities existing in your institution, that counts a large, and that's why 10 marks have been reserved for that. And documentation, as I said, we have to give geotag photographs and master timetable for all these facilities to claim support your claim made in this particular QNM. Then let's come to this smart classroom. What we say is a smart classroom. It is the state of the art hardware and software. So what are different types of hardware and software we can see here? Internet for teaching, you must have internet connectivity there, and all of the facilities possible. Then natural language processing capabilities, it is another important part of the smart classroom. Animated modules and videos, if it is possible, their facilities should be there. Remote access capabilities, that is live streaming. If some of the events are to be live streamed, and these events can be seen, streamed in that particular classroom, it is possible. Then save class option, or it is called as lecture capturing system, and that lecture capturing system is there. It requires a special equipment for capturing such type of systems. Audio systems may be there, public address system may be there, and along with that, we should have artificial intelligence enabled systems. For example, decreasing the intensity in the light of the light inside the room. If we have some automated system is existing there, depending upon the time at which we are recording or we are having class, if the light intensity in the particular classroom of that smart classroom is adjustable, then such type of artificial things, intelligence systems are needed. So all this makes you to be a smart classroom. So merely, as I said, merely putting one LCD in your room, it doesn't make you a smart classroom. So that entire concept required to be a smart classroom are these aspects. Some more out of that. Along with that, we need softwares and learning softwares, LMS, etc. Then that particular type of system becomes a smart classroom. So I'm sure writing how many smart classroom existing in your college. In some of the case I have seen, a college has 20 classrooms, and they said they have 18 smart classrooms or 18. ICT enabled classroom. It is not possible physically everywhere. One or two classrooms may be possible, and you have to mention all these things with this particular things. Let's list here. Then, as I said, as we go earlier, learning management system. As we said, this Zoom app itself is one such. Again, it's not perfect learning management system, but it can be considered as a learning management system. So, what is that learning management system? So, technical definition gives you a learning management system is software applications for administration, documentation, evaluation, tracking, reporting, and delivery of educational courses. So likewise, in what way I teach in the class and carry out the entire activities, all these activities are to be carried out online without having physical contact with the students inside the classroom. I can do everything with my class. And if such type of software is existing at my end, which is having all these attributes like administration, documentation, evaluation, tracking, reporting, and delivery of education, reporting, etc., then that type of system becomes a learning management system. Nowadays, as we said, we are in the period of this COVID-19 outbreak. Because of that situation, had we been aware about these systems 5 years before, the picture would have been different. Most of the still at urban areas, some of the colleges are imparting their education or this on functioning online, and because of that, that colleges are able to carry out their everyday work using this learning management system. But most of the colleges do not have these facilities today to certain extent, and that's why we have been stuck because of this particular situation. So that could have been improved had we been aware about this type of systems 5 years before. This could have helped a lot for us. And for example, there are certain open source as well as cloud based LMS systems are existing. Open source is one of the most simple and easy to use, freely available, as that is called as Moodle, which has training, assessment, and certification facilities available. Some of us are using these Moodles nowadays. At the same time, we are using Google Classroom too. That is also open source example where we can use here. If we have G Suite for your institution, Google Classroom can be made available. Along with Moodle is there. There is one Open EDX. It is a Harvard and MIT 2012, this particular platform has been launched, and the particular person behind this was Indian professor Nimisha Astagiri. So he was, I don't know who is he, but he opened created such type of open EDX platform. So some of the open platforms are there. Along with that, we can go for a customized learning management systems at your place, and that can be hired, that can be purchased. A lot many are existing, lot many are in practice. So every institution should have such type of learning management system. Now this is a need of the time. As time goes ahead and ahead, we have to have such type of good quality learning management systems, and that will help us in basically in higher education. So that is what the brief things I want to discuss about this. This is what your first key indicator, the last metric here I have to discuss. The average 4.1.4 QNM. Again, there are 10 marks. So what is the infrastructure augmented has been carried out in a place during the last 5 years or during the assessment period. And we have to mention this rupees in lakhs. So for that, you have to study the budget of your college, and in budget or the audited statement, what were the things that, what are the amounts that have been stipulated for augmentation or creating new infrastructure, that has to be taken in consideration. And according to, we have to fill up this particular QNM. This is a data template. We have to submit these amounts in rupees lakh, and that is to be supported by consolidated fund allocation duly certified by finance officer for infrastructure augmentation. Renovation things are not to be taken in this case. Augmentation means completely generation of completely new infrastructure required for some new programs and other things. Then highlight the relevant items in audited statements of the income and expenditure that can be supported here. In case of private institutions, documents should be certified by chartered accountant. Total expenditure, excluding salary. We are not supposed to include the salary component here. Only expenditure for infrastructure augmentation has to be taken in consideration, and avoid recurring expenditure on laboratory maintenance in this particular metric. So whatever expenses carried out on the laboratory maintenance or some other maintenances, that heading or that metric is separate one that can be taken later on. So this type of infrastructure augmentation is to be. So again, look at this. This question is again not that easy. Technically, it is not that easy. As I said, we have to pick up the numbers from the budget as well as audit statement. We have to collect all these things together, and then you have to support that the things that have been um, the things that have been stated were like this, and that has happened like this. So what was budgeted amount and what is actual expedited amount, these two should have a match with each other. So whatever amounts has been shown in budget, and if expenditure is much more, then you will be in problem. Or the reverse case, if budgeted amount is much small, much big, and expenditure is very small, again you will be in problem. So you have to keep this balance in mind while giving the numbers for budget as well as rupees in rupees lakh in for expenditure. These two things match with each other, otherwise you will be in a problem. And for that, as we see here, this is what the first key indicator 4.1.4, that is for 30 marks. We'll now move on to the next one, that is the 4.2.1, that is for library or the library and learning resource center. First QLN is library is automated using integrated library management system, in short form, that is ILMS. Now ILMS means some software. We have to mention is data requirement for last 5 years. This is a QLM, and still we require the information of the last 5 years, how your library is functioning from the last 5 years using this type of software. May it be paid software or may it be free type of software you are using. So what type of integrated library management system you are using for the functioning of library, you have to mention here. In this in here you have to mention the ILMS software, its name, nature of its automation, whether fully or partially automated, there is version as well as its year of automation. So NAAC want to test within last 5 years or whatever your assessment period, what were the changes that have been carried out in the functioning of your library using this integrated library management systems. That's why all these details are needed here. And to support this, we can give here purchase orders or its membership. Some of the screenshot also can be used there, that to support that such type of ILMS you are having in your institution or library. And photographs of daily operations also can be uploaded there to support this claim what we are mentioning here. This type of library automation has been again, I'm sure every library is not 100% completely automated. Maybe some functions go by manual way, some functions go by this automated way. So that all these things we have to mention here in a QLM, which is to be answered in 500 words. So the entire functioning of the library using this ILMS, how goes on in the last 5 years, all this is to be given here. Koha is one such open source for ILMS. Some of the libraries might be using that. Details of that also can be mentioned if you are using that there. Or the during last 5 years, what were the changes have been occurred, what are versions or what other types of attributes have been provided, that also can be mentioned here. Again, this information can be given by your librarian. He might be knowing all these things, what are the things operating there, how library function is being affected by all these things, and all these utilities can be mentioned by the librarian very well while answering this particular question. It has 4 marks. Second, again, remember, this is what related to ICT, though it comes in the key indicator library. Actually, this is the part of the ICT. Without ICT facilities, we cannot go for subscription of all this. And see here, more than ILMS, it has more marks provided for this particular case here. It is having 6 weightage, 4.2.2. The institution has subscription for following e-resources: e-journals, research journals, e-Shodh Sindhu. Shodh Sindhu is the depository where we can have store our PhD thesis or research thesis, and this is available for only 2F and 12B types of institutions affiliated to the UGC. Then Shodh Ganga membership, it is also not for colleges. And e-books, some of the e-books are available, that also can be purchased. Bases for research or some other types of special functioning, several types of databases existing, and how many databases are available for the users in your library. And at the same time, only having this access, having these facilities, and if there is no remote access or for the e-resources, then again this particular facility may not be useful for all the stakeholders in your college. So Enlist is for all, it is available freely for that. Apart from that, there are also some other remote access e-resources available. To what extent your library provides this? For that, this is a QLM. In this data template, you have to give every if these facilities are existing, you have to mention either 4 of above are existing, 3 of above are existing, 4 of 2 of above existing, or nothing of this existing. According to that, you have to give your response in the SSR. And here you have to support it by e-copies of letter of subscription. If you have subscription, you must have letter of subscription or membership details there in the name of higher education institution or HEI. So its membership, including having your name of your institution, must be provided as a support for this facility. Expenditure incurred or the subscriptions and membership, if some of them are paid facilities, subscriptions of that or membership forms of that, that also can be supported here. If we are having access to this screenshot of the some of the facilities claimed here, that also can be uploaded here, that such type of Syed Ganga or Syed Sindhu facilities available at our library, and soft copies of printed books will not be considered here. So suppose someone goes for made scan copies of the book, and if it is kept in the library as an e-resources, that is not accepted here. So because that things can be done a lot, but that won't that is not an ethical practice, and that's why we have to have this type of facilities available in your library, and its memberships must be there, and its remote access must be there. Then and then one will get a maximum score that is given for 6 marks or 6 weightage here. Then as I said earlier, different types of database are existing. GetSpace Plus, this is one database. Math Science is one such database. Web of Science, that is paid one, and this is another type of database existing. Of course, there are a lot many databases existing. Depending upon the type of institution, your library should go for membership or subscription of such type of database, and that database is to be made available for other its users. Then there is one National Institute for Studies in Industrial Development. This is government enterprise, and here it is 252 Indian social sciences disciplines are available from the year 2000. It's all newspaper clippings from 2000. They are available here for almost 252 Indian social science disciplines. You can imagine how large database is available at free of cost. Your library has to just approach them, give credentials or details, and this type of database can be made available for all your users or any other e-user also. So there are several types of databases. We did not go into details of all these things. Then next metric in the second Q indicator is 4.2.3, that is average annual expenditure for purchase of books, e-books, and subscription to journals, e-journals during the last 5 years. Again, you have to mention the number in rupees 5 lakh. So again, you have to go for study of budget or the expenditure statement of your college, and what are the amounts that have been budgeted for books as well as e-books, as well as for journals as well as e-journal subscription. These amounts are to be picked together year wise. You have to go for classification for this year, this much amount stipulated, and likewise for all 5 years you have to carry out this total and then divide it by 5. We get this annual that is average annual expenditure on purchase on all this. So here also you have to perform the consolidated extract of expenditure for purchase of books and journals for last 5 years attested by head of the institutions or CA, and audited income and expenditure statement highlighting the expenditure for purchase of books and journals. That also can be uploaded to the supports what we have made in this QNM, which is having the amounts that have been used for the purchase of the e-books as well as books and e-journals and e-journals. So this is second question, which is directly related to our budget. So reading the budget, picking the right numbers from the budget, highlighting them there, making its extract, and then writing all these numbers in your data template, and then supporting them by this type of documents that gives you 5 weightage for the third QA metric in this particular key indicator. Then another important here, that is again 5 marks. So you have to show, that is what again it comes to, this NAAC wants to test whether this library facility is optimally being used or not. For that, what we have to go, percentage of per day usage of library by teachers and students, footfall, that means actually physically people coming there. We should have certain mechanism to measure that particular footfall as well as login data for online access. So user counter must be there available to your library in your library software, and that gives you the actual number of online access per day. Data of latest completed academic year, that means actually the assessment period, the last year data is required here. So you have to mention simply the number here. You are not needed to give any explanation there, but at the time of DVV you may ask to upload last page of accession register details, or the entry register is kept in several libraries, that also can be uploaded. The last page of that can be uploaded, or the date on which you are submitting this SSR, the date of that particular date you can upload here as a support for that. Just to mention that this particular average, if you have to, this data template, you have to mention what type of method you are using in the library for computing per day uses. At the same time, you have to give number of users using library through the e-access. That counter is to be also there. That method is to be given. Some libraries have biometric systems installed there, so this biometric data also can be included here. That also can be accepted, that we are having this type of users measuring facility there. Then certified copies of ledger for footfall for 5 days. Actually, these copies are asked at the time of DVV. Once the SSR goes for data validation, verification, and validation, at that time, any of the 5 days in that particular year, this particular ledger or that particular copies have been are asked by DVV team, and that time we must be able to give all this document there. Along with that, certified screenshots of the data for same 5 days for online access, that also is asked there. And as I said here, at the time of SSR, we can give any 5 days, and at the time of DVV, we are asked for any other 5 days other than this. So this in all documents we have to support here to the show what is the percentage uses of the of your library. It is mentioned, it is shown that means here there is no such benchmark. But if in my college there are 2,000 students and 100 staff members, 2,100 is the total stakeholder number there. All 2,100 cannot access your library in single day. It is not possible anywhere. So we have to have certain structure. We have to have certain schedule. According to that, we go for that. And at least 10% of the stakeholders are using your facility every day. That is to be mentioned here. Then that is to be ensured here. Then that goes for optimal use of this particular facility, and that counts a lot in the DVV as well as in the SSR. So this is what second key indicator we have finished here, where we have to go for the percentage use of the library. Then we'll entering in the third one. Now this is what ICT 4.3.1 first QLM. Institution frequently updates its IT facilities, including Wi-Fi. For that, we need to have, as I said, we must have ICT facilities or IT policy. So that institution needs to be IT policy. Then and then these things are possible. What is expected by the NAAC? Only installing IT facility once and leave it as it is never possible and is not going to be useful at all. So for that, we must have a continuous upgradation and maintenance policy existing in the college. You have to mention along with that policy, you have to mention that during last 5 years or during your accessing period, what was the status of the software or this particular ICT facilities there, and after 5 years or till date, what changes have been made there. So you have to describe IT facilities including Wi-Fi with the date and nature of updation with maximum again in 500 words. So update, addition or deletion, replacement of different types of softwares there. Wi-Fi, its bandwidth, other details, hardware configurations, networking if it is there. We also can mention that softwares, Windows, MS Office, Tallies, institutional ERP. Of course, these softwares are expected to be authentic one. No pirated copies are expected to be mentioned here. So that type of clear-cut policy your institution should have. We are not supposed to use any pirated software. Only authentic softwares will be used by our institution. So that type of documents must have been there this in the policy itself, as well as we should have such type of softwares available. If there are certain networking facilities, that also is to be mentioned. CCTV surveillance becomes a part of this ICT facility. That also can be included here. UPS, uninterrupted power supply facilities. Without that, these IT facilities may not be useful all the time. So if such facilities are existing there, you should mention it there. Cyber security, that is antivirus, internet access management software, blocking up specific websites. We all know that why we need this particular software, because cyber security is another very important aspect of this. We should mention it here. LMS or institutional repositories, if it is existing like DSpace or ILMS, whatever, these type of things are to be mentioned. And at the same time, we have to have a good college website which is having written in your policy, and this particular website becomes one of the very, very integral part of your not only process of assessment recognition, but it becomes a part of good functioning of any institution will be ensured by the college website. How? That will be see later on. So here we can upload any additional information for all the purchase of all orders of all these IT facilities what we have done there. Its account details etc. also can be mentioned, and that can be supported in this case. So before going to this website, we'll just complete this, and then remaining these two aspects we'll discuss at the end. Then second is the, again look at this. First question has 5 marks. Second QNM, it has 10 marks. Now look at this student computer ratio data for the latest completed academic year, and here you have to this credit go give advantage for this is for 10 marks. Number of computers and number of students. Already we in extended profile we have given several times the number of students in your college. You have to just mention how many number of working computers which are exclusively used by students. These computers are to be mentioned. Library computers, office computers, or the computers which are being used by staff exclusively, these computers are not to be mentioned here. So we have to mention all these numbers. So number of computers available for students use only, bills for purchase of computers or its receipts. At the same time, you can provide the stock register. So everything should be mentioned in the stock register. And why we are asked stock register? We have to give the information in the latest academic year. So if this peer team is visiting today, and if 10 days before, if you have purchased all these computers and kept in your laboratories, then it shows that these are not being used by the students for in a period where this accession has been carried out. So in accession period, when this particular assessment period, whether these computers were being used or not, to test that we require to provide the details of the stock register as well. So data is to be given only pertaining to the latest completed academic year, and computer for office and faculty use will not be considered here. So look at this particular now 4.1.1 and 4.1.2. Entire physical structure carries 10 marks, and whether you are maintaining a good computer student ratio, that carries 10 marks or 10 weightage. Can you imagine how large importance NAAC is giving to the use of the technology? Ideal ratio is sent to be there is actually for different types of college this ratio differs there, but for traditional college it is expected that in the benchmarks we have seen that 1:10 ratio is said to be ideal ratio. If it is less than that, then it is good. If it is more than that, we should try to make it to be as good as close to 1:10 ratio. So we can very easily count what are the computers available, what is the student strength. Based upon that, this can be calculated. It is 4.3.2, that is the QNM. We will go into details of all that. Then another, the most important, the maximum weightage question for affiliated college, and that is called as this 4.3.3. This is also QNM, bandwidth of internet connection in the institution. Now there are several options, option A, B, C, D. You have to just choose along with that, and respective option is to be mentioned in your SSR, and that tells you, that gives you given you 15 marks. Again, compare 4.1.1 and 4.1.2 collectively, it has 10 marks, and 4.3.3 itself has a 15 marks. Large bandwidth, that is maximum marks can be obtained. If you are having more than 50 Mbps lease line available in your institution, you are going to get a 15 marks there. So getting 15 marks using this and getting 10 marks for that entire infrastructure, you can understand the difference between these two. So how it is to be supported? So bills indicating connection plan, speed and bandwidth, and the HEI name on that particular bill, at least for 1 month, quarter, or latest of the academic year. That is in last year, whatever the particular bills have been generated, these bills for months or year, etc., can be uploaded here, providing that, or that proves that such type of facility is available in your institution. Only lease line or special lines from that particular service provided to your institution, special lines, these are called as lease lines of connectivity is to be considered. Wireless broadband connections are not to be included here. So if I am taking 5 Mbps, 10 such wireless broadband connections, and I'm putting all them together that I'm having 50 Mbps, this claim will not be accepted. Only a lease or wire line from service provided to that institution, that will be counted, and you have to give all its proof as mentioned there. So e-copy of the agreement with the service provided also works, and at the same time, of course, fees of all such may be larger one. It should be seen somewhere in your budget, and if it is supported by the budget or audited account statements, then this claim is easily accepted by the DVV, and that tells you what type of such type of bandwidth is available in your institution, and if it is there, most of the functioning in the institution goes with the use of the IC tools or softwares and other types of equipments, and that ensures the efficiency in your system, that ensures the user rate, higher user rate in your system, and entire functioning of the institution, right from teaching, learning to administration, can be made more and more smooth if, if such type of heavy bandwidth is available in your institution. So remember, 15 marks has been assigned for this single metric in this, that is 4.3.3, as compared to any of the metrics in this particular criteria number 4 for affiliated colleges. Then that is what next one, last key indicator we are going to discuss here. There are two metrics, one is QNM and second is QLM. This is exactly similar what we did in the 4.1.4. Here, average percentage of expenditure incurred on the maintenance of the infrastructure. Augmentation is different, maintenance is different. So here, physical and academic support facilities. So in this data template, we have to specially mention, we have to classify the infrastructure existing, which is physical infrastructure and which is academic support infrastructure. And for that, what is the maintenance cost of institution during last 5 years, excluding salary. So excluding salary component during the last 5 years, that amount is again to be given in the rupees lakh per year, and average can be calculated from that. So software itself calculates this particular average. So what includes here is building renovation, coloring, POP, partitions, etc. These are said to be the these things can be mentioned here, as I discussed that. Then repairing of equipments, furnitures purchased, then plumbing work carried out, hardware repair, electricity bills or electrical installations we have carried out in our institution, then property taxes paid to the different government bodies, maintenance charges for UPS, etc., as well as cleaning, etc. All these things can be discussed here or can be taken here. All these numbers you have to pick up from your budget and or this auditor statement, and these numbers are to be mentioned under this physical facilities. At the same time, for some other academic support facilities, if we are paying some amounts to the outsourcing agencies, or some rents are being paid, some bills are being paid, for that case, that can be counted into the this academic support facilities. So whatever things we are included, that can be here. And this particular QNM, it has two specific columns. What is the amount for physical facilities budgeted and expedited? What is the amount of budgeted for academic support facilities? And the every year end, what is the amount expedited on that? So such 5 years tabular information we have to give, and based upon that, the average is calculated, and this number should come in rupees lakh. So for that also, we can support this particular claim by geotag photographs of maintenance work that is going on every year, and assign budget for maintenance and actual expenditure occurred with audited statement of accounts. Let's start with what 4.1.4 and 4.4.1 are just same. One is augmentation and second is the infrastructure maintenance. So actual costing of the maintenance in your institution, that is to be included here. And then the last metric here in the Q indicator number 4, that is the 4.4.2. There are established systems and procedures for maintaining and utilizing physical, academic, and support facilities, laboratory, library, sport complex, and all others. So what is the maintenance? Is so see the words established systems. So whenever we come across these words systems, we have to have certain policy. And remember, the weightage for this is for 10 marks. Why this large weightage has been given? At one side, 4.1.1 and 1.2, that carries 10 marks. And the policy to maintain that type of infrastructure, it has only our 10 marks. So you can compare a large input, because if we are having such type of established policy and you are implementing this policy very nicely in your institution, then that ensures that optimal use of infrastructure is ensured, as well as its life has been extended, and the more and more utilization is possible. In that sense, a policy detail and procedure, whether you are applying open tendering system or some other types of systems you are using, what type of outsourcing agencies you are deploying for that, methods of reimbursement. So that policy should include all these things. That is what here. And at the same time, we can upload this policy document. This document may be available on your website. Also, you can upload here. Work order letters also can be applied here, uploaded. Agreements, bill pay receipts, Then in some cases, your CDC or governing council takes note of all these things. So their record also can be supported here as to the claims that have been mentioned in the QLM. This is QLM 4.4.2. So whatever, and remember, this only answer in this SSR, which is to be written in 1000 words. So to have this type of campus infrastructure maintenance, what type of established systems we are having, and how this maintenance is being carried out over after year, that you have to mention in this 1000 words. So this is the last QLM and the last key indicator, last metric in this particular key indicator 4.4.2. In this concern, as I said, I'll just go for one. I'll show you what that particular policy is. I just want to show you such one policy. Yeah, this is one college, as we might have been discussed in criteria 2. Dr. Tamde, he is the IQC coordinator of this college, and he prepared this policy in June 2014. So this is, Bole sir, screen is seen. Are you getting my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. This is Ramkrishna More College, Pune District Education Association. Yeah.
Presentation this time.
Yeah. Presentation this time. Okay. I'll just check.
Report sir.
Yes, just a minute. I'll start once again.
Yeah.
I should go for this. Yeah. Is it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Hala, sir. Hala.
This is what a Pune District Education Associations, Ramkrishna More College, June 1, 2014. This policy has been framed. So, a physical and academic facility utilization and maintenance policy. Now, every policy document should have this purpose or reason for the policy. All the purposes have been given. Scope of the policy. So, this policy is intended to cover the following types of facilities on college owned buildings and locations. So right from academic and administrative offices to storage space. So all this is what called as scope. First statement is the purpose of the policy. Then there are some technical definitions required for the policy. They have been given one by one. Then activity and events, how events are categorized. Based upon that, this particular classification is done there. Classroom assignments and utilization. Now, how classrooms in my institution or in a particular institution should be used by inside users as well as outside users. That should be mentioned very clearly. I'm sure that everywhere this type of things happens. We have this type of mechanism, but that is not written on paper. So here, this policy statement shows you how this classroom allocations and its use has been ensured in the written document. Then laboratory space utilization and assignments. So it's just one statement I'll give here, this particular table. Classes, undergraduate classes and arts and commerce will use these laboratory facilities for theory for 7:45 to 12:48, and for postgraduate this table, and for practical purposes these libraries will be used for that. So this time schedule, everything is specifically mentioned, and entire functioning of the college takes place according to this particular policy. Then this is administrative office space, how it is being used for different purposes. One of the important thing I just want to show here, space allotment for academic activities and extension activities. So for different types of, other than teaching learning, what are the different types of activities and how to carry out these activities and how to give this particular facilities made available for these type of things. For example, conference room existing in the college, how this conference room should be used. These are the different events, meetings of the College Development Committee CDC, meeting of IQAC, faculty and staff meeting by the principal, Viva or PhD or MPhil students, small training workshop, and meetings of different college committees. Look, one statement. Conference hall is equipped with the LCD TV and projector, computer internet facility. When the conference room is required for the different activities at the same time, then priority will be given to the activity according to the above list. So these are the activities, and they have set this particular list that this should happen. This conference room should be used this way. And this is what very clearly mentioned. Same is the thing for space for external users. So how to give your classrooms for external users for conducting some exams or such activities, that has been mentioned here. Library space, then sports facilities, then you go for courts, equipments, how these equipments are being used, how its external users are allowed to use that equipments. Then regarding the second part is maintenance facility, how maintenance of the entire campus is to be taken, what is the routine maintenance, building and physical infrastructure, IT infrastructure, each and everything will be mentioned here. And this particular policy is formulated in June 2014 and it was revised in June 2017, signed by principal. It was accepted by the CDC of that college, and it is available on their website for all stakeholders. Thereby, they have ensured that this infrastructure and all this infrastructure use and its maintenance has been established by this. So this is one example I just wanted to how this policy procedure, and based upon this document and some other documents, this college got 10 out of 10 marks for this question. And we have seen most of the college which have received 0 marks for this question, because we don't have, unfortunately, some of the colleges didn't have that type of established systems existing there. Then there is one more page I just want to show here. This is called as one website of the college. Are you able to see? Yeah. This is another special case. Earlier college, Ramkrishna More College with highest CGPA in Maharashtra, 3.46. And this is the second highest college in India, that is A++. It is St. Teresa's College Autonomous. NAC grade there is 3.57 with revised accreditation cycle, of course. So here you look at this website of this college. Just look it once. Very nice website they have presented, and how this website is useful for all stakeholders, right from staff members, management, students, and all other general public. So they have the structure of the website. Now that shows these are the different departments of the institution. Every department has given a very nice information inside. You can click inside, you can go there. Actually, I won't go into details of that. Then that shows you there is a news section is on this website, and this is how. These are the different types of college initiatives, and you can go for any of this. If I go for these green initiatives, now this particular website connects all its stakeholders with these initiatives and how entire information is given there. So Bhumi Mitra Sena, Green Protocol, Green Audit, etc. All these green initiatives have been given. So all the initiatives of the college, not only green initiatives, but all society connected initiatives have been mentioned here. Everything has its space there, and entire information has been given there. Along with that, several useful links have been provided. There is a student login, there is a staff login, there is an alumni login. Large work of the college carries out these three login. At the same time, physical education, parent teachers association, and all these things have been mentioned there. There is a MOOC facility available. Then there is a tenders and notices, which is related to this 4.4.2 as we have just now seen. And along with that, remember here, this website and this college is connected by Facebook. They have their separate page on Facebook. Most of the recent activities are placed there, so students are connected with that. There is a Twitter account, there is a Instagram, there is a Pinterest, then the LinkedIn. All these social platforms are being used. So this entire website is connected to all these platforms, and now their students have approach to their website through this or this. So continuous information exchange between student and college takes place through this website. And along with that, they have a very special attribute there for this website, that is Google Play. They have established a very nice app, St. Teresa College app for students. Same app is existing for management, as well as similar app is existing for management as well as staff. And you'll find that right from everyday attendance to its entire annual performance of that student, that can be tracked to this particular app. And this is available for parent as well as teachers, and thereby the college can track all the college as well as parents can track the performance of the students every year. And this app's helps is like in a large case. And through this app, students can interact directly with any of the office or principal or the department and anything, and thereby connect between student and the student and college is possible like this. Apart from that, as I said here, just 1 or 2 minutes, we'll finish. This is one more thing I just wanted to show here. Just look at their IQAC page. Along with that, this IQAC page is there. I just want to go for the quality policy of this college. This is separate IQAC page. See the structure of the websites, its fluency, its navigation possibilities, and its appearance and everything. That is very interesting. So this is IQAC home. This is IQAC's functioning and all that things, what it carries out. And see here, IQAC has established quality policy, consultancy policy, research policy, learning mentoring policy, quality assurance initiatives, and lot many things have been included there. Actually, we don't have that time to look into all these details. And then there is a NAC is also there. AQR, NRF, Paramarsh, AQR, I think they have changed all these things there. But this is what a Fluent website that carries a lot many things. So this is one very unique identity of this college. Everyone, so every citizen, every stakeholder can connect with this college through this website, and lot of information can be taken from this very easily. So this is what I wanted to present a last page here. And now we'll go for this, our last thing. We are at up to end. Just in 2 or 3 minutes, we'll go for this. Professor Rajmohan is there?
Rajmohan, sir? Yes, he is there.
Is it possible to carry out further?
Yes, I can go ahead, but somebody have to access the PPT. I can go ahead.
PPT is there. You have to start from last, that is, what is extra for autonomous college? Are you saying this?
No.
So,
not shared. If somebody can share the
Sir, refresh.
yes, I'm sharing it.
Refresh केलं तर होईल.
Okay, just a minute. I'll share it once again. Is it?
Share होता है sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. These 2 more slides. What is extra for autonomous college and further? Now, Rajmohan, over to you.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Next. Yes. So there are the 2 matrices are given extra for the autonomous colleges. The first one is qualitative matrix, where they are asking institution has an IT policy covering the Wi-Fi, cyber security, etc., and allocated budget for updating its IT facilities. So we have to focus here that how we can build up our IT facility, because we know that when we have the Wi-Fi, we have the availability of so many computers, in which way we are putting its security. We also sharing our data or keeping important files. So whether you have the purchased license of antivirus software or not. Second thing, different types of apps, websites are also there. So using the firewall, whether you have protected that or not. So some state-of-the-art facilities we have to establish with the IT coordinator or the person who has the knowledge of hardware and networking, and that all those things has to be mentioned over there. Second thing, how much budget we are going to allocate, that also has to be focused. And then updating of the IT facilities also has to be focused, because IT is such a thing which is updating each day. So the periodical updation you are doing, at which situation you are doing, that all those things you have to mention there into the qualitative matrix. That is 4.3.1. Next is the quantitative metric. Here they are asking the institution has facilities for e-content development. Facilities available for e-content development. 4 facilities they have asked: media center, audio visual center, lecture capturing system, and mixing equipment and software for the editing. So whatever we have available with our institution, that we can say. In 2011 and 12, there was the plan from the UGC for the media center. So most of the colleges have established, those who have applied that time under the NME ICT. And audio visual center also, it's easy. We can establish with a very limited low cost equipments, and lecture capturing system also possible. Nowadays, there are some devices are coming. So we can, with the low cost system can be created at our own institution level. And most of the open source softwares are available, which for the mixing of the audio and video that we can use. Next, please.
Yeah. Not going ahead. Yes. Yeah.
Funding opportunities. This is also one of the very important thing we have to be focused, that most of the colleges always have often a cry that from where we can bring the funding. Management also not support. property most of the times. So here are some agencies are listed. They are giving a very free handful funding for the colleges to create the teaching and learning infrastructure. So DST FIST, which specially gives you the grant to develop the science and technology infrastructure for the PG colleges. DBT STAR is given to the UG colleges. 11 ministries are there. They are giving the funding for the R&D projects starting from 10 lakhs to 1 crore rupees. DRDO also sponsors the Center of Excellence scheme, especially in the aviation sector. You can consider the physics and all those stuff if you are in the degree college. Center of Excellence schemes are also available from the IBM, Mahindra, etc. under their corporate social responsibility schemes. UGC also have the several schemes. So right now, UGC's NSQF scheme is going on where everybody can apply for the diploma courses or BO courses, and per course 40 lakhs rupees. If funds are available, UGC will going to allot to the selected colleges. Khelo India scheme is also available from the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. Here you can get up to 7 crore rupees to enhance and establish the new sports infrastructure in the colleges. National Council for Promotion of Urdu also gives the funding and grant to purchase the books, computers to start some diploma and certificate courses in Urdu. You can also take the funds from MP Fund, local MLAs and MLC. They also give up to 10 to 20 lakhs rupees to establish small ICT labs or any kind of facilities. And also you can consider your alumni and other stakeholders from the society to consider the funding for the infrastructure. Next, please. Now here are some points I would like to highlight. Till now we have understood detail about our national scenario where NAC has given the guidelines. But in QS ranking also considered as one of the important ranking, and they have some methodology and some points about the infrastructure which can be considered. So let us have a quick look on that. If we have the sports facilities, then indoor, outdoor sports facilities, pitches, athletic tracks, gym, swimming pool, and for these all facilities should have some standards as per the international standards, and full-time staff should be there to maintain each facility, where each full-time staff should be well qualified in that particular area of the sports. Medical facilities, if we have the on-campus 3,000 full-time students, then per 3,000 full-time student, one doctor should be appointed. If less than that, one can consider the visiting appointment, pay as you go. Student societies in foreign universities, this is one of the very nice trend where 20 or more than 20 student societies you can observe, like IEEE, ACM, student chapters, or local societies subject specific which are managed by the students. Hostel accommodation also is there. Minimum total number of full-time students available into the first year can be considered to provide the hostel accommodation. And in case of IT infrastructure, one computer per 5 students should be available, and 80% campus should be Wi-Fi enabled. In case of library, investment of $100 per student per year they are expecting to be done towards the library resource developments. Next, please.
Hello.
Yes. So here, let us see, we understood that the infrastructure is one of the very important part of the institution. We must have to create some basic infrastructure which is adequate and relevant for the teaching, learning and research activities, and also for the extracurricular activities of the institution. But here I would like to focus couple of points. Infrastructure development versus usability. Most of the times we create the infrastructure, but we do not able to show its usability up to the 100%. So whatever the infrastructure we have developed, it should be 100% used and optimally used. That has to be shown in the form of the policy and also the records. Another thing is the maintenance. Purchasing any equipment one time is very easy, but whether that equipment is properly maintained or not, that is one of the very important thing. So maintenance also has to be given the more priority. Then when you are purchasing or creating the infrastructure, which kind of approach you are using? So piecemeal approach versus proper planning. So one should have to always focus that whenever you are going to create the infrastructure, you should have a proper planning, and you should have to think about the present needs and the future expansion, so that you cannot go. Usually people go on the ad hoc basis. Whenever they require, they bring and simply put it or create. And that time reusability of that infrastructure or relevance or scalability of that infrastructure we lose when we go to the future. Another thing, funding versus fundraising. So we always have to keep it in mind. Funding opportunities are also available, but being the faculty member or the member of the management, we should have to see that our college should have to raise some funds from the external agencies also. And when we look at the progress of any institution, we focus on the 3 P's personally. First one comes to the projects. When you have the very high qualified faculty, they get the good grants through the project and they develop their own laboratories and infrastructure for the research and consultancy. When you have research and consultancy, then obviously you have the very good publications, good citations. And if you have all this with one teacher, obviously teaching learning activities are always nice, and placement is not an issue in that particular college. So these 3 P's of the academic progress are very important. And the last but not the least, I would like to mention one quote. If you lose your eyesight, it can be cured. But if you lose your vision, there is no cure for it. So always we should have to keep a very crystal clear vision towards our institution, its development. It may be the infrastructure or anything. We should have to focus.
Yeah, now we'll get the time to question. We'll go for that. And I say thank you for all dear participants and all the organizers, my colleague